My guest on the program is Mr. IKHARO. We all know him as the chairperson of the task force ensuring compliance to COVID-19 guidelines. Well, this time he's the chairman of the Federal Capital Territory Ministerial Task Team on City Sanitation, and he's here to clean house. Mr. IKHARO, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Oh, thank you very much, my sister. It's been a long time.
It has. You're heading another task force in the FCT, and this time it is hurting people.
Yes, most times it always hurts people.
So let's hear about this. What is this? It's something that you're calling sanitation, but basically everyone is calling you the demolition man of Abuja right now because you are demolishing a lot of houses right now. So let's get into it. What's really going on, and what caused the FCT administration to decide to come up with this task force?
I think the minister had given us that, after the first wave of COVID-19, the minister had to show us a stretch from the Apo roundabout, not too far from where your office is now, stretching towards the Apo by Powerhouse Junction here. That's where we had a drug den on the hill called the Toragora Hill. We had a ram market.
That hill, there's
a drug den called Toragora. We've sacked the drug den.
You have?
The drug lord. We've sacked the drug lord already. This was about early this year. We also actually go sack the Pantika, the scrap market. The ram market, I think we sacked them, but they adjusted very deep inward here, and we removed the popular Akpatanya village overlooking the NEPA structure there. So the committee, the task force have been on, but just that recently, 5 months ago, we were heavily reawakened to do some heavy cleanup work along the airport road stretch, touching some communities here and removing some very bigger structures, particularly the ones at Ido Sariki and Ido Sabo, where persons decides to go and buy or just go and occupy lands, build massive structures, hostels for students of University of Abuja without having approval or genuine documents. So
how many buildings have you demolished? I mean, apart from the drug den and all those places, so you're doing shanties, you're doing criminal hideouts, and you're also looking at illegal structures, correct?
Multiple, all in one. We're doing so much here. If you look at it somewhat, some of the things that we clear are heavy shanties. We had clear shanties in the city center, the one around the Bolingo axis, the one around the bush close to Nan, where we had intensive robbery, the one behind the church gate. You just pass through without seeing anything, but just go under some tree, you will see people living there up to about 4,000. We've cleared all the shanties.
How many so far?
I can't count it, but they're just in some region of some thousands.
Thousands of shanties. So the people who've been affected by this, what happens to them?
What happens? I don't know what happens to them, but the truth about it is you're not supposed to be there. When you are there, if I come into Channels Television, this wonderful broadcast edifice, and no one allowed me to come in here, and I forced my way in, the security men will have to throw me out. And when I go out, I go home. So they have to go
Isn't it counterproductive? Because we've had this conversation before where we talk about shanties, and of course these are ungoverned spaces, and yes, a lot of crime and criminality happen in these places. Correct. But when you go and sack a shanty, you've released those same criminals into the city.
No, you've not. You see, that's the irony we are looking at before, that whenever we want to go out, this issue of empathy, security, check and all of that. But what we resolve and what we observe doing going forward is that when you leave the criminals, they have a safe place for stealing. They go back, they hit, and they have a place to return back to hide. When you hit their hideout, then you've touched them from the very core of where they sleep, where they rest, where they keep their weapons, where they do everything. Sometimes you may want to know, Kela, when we go to some places to actually go clear shanties, like the Toragora Hill we talked about before, we go to some areas that are deep areas around maybe Kubo, around some other areas, the one city center. What we saw are largely female handbags, female shoes, female ATM. They target the female folks because maybe they are weaker vessels and they are easy to rob and all of that. So when you go around the shanties, you hit the criminal from the strong point where they stay. Imagine you driving past Bolingo, close to Sheep House, close to Nan and others here. You won't even know people live in their hundreds in that green you just see. When you go there, you hit them. everyone will disperse. But as long as the criminals are safe, as long as their den is safe, it's not touched, they just come out at night, they rob you when you are crossing the road, when you slow down, they rob you, and they quickly rush back to where they got safe haven. And that's why we are hitting them. Even the one at Mpape, we touched that one very much there. We saw so many shanties recovered, some very dangerous items used to rob ladies.
But that doesn't answer my question. When you sack these shanties,
Yeah.
the criminals, you're releasing,
you're
releasing them into the city.
No.
What's the proof that they go back? What's the proof that they leave the city? Because their houses have been demolished.
They are advised to change from being criminals to good people and live somewhere nice. If you are a criminal and we sack you and you move to somewhere and want to continue your criminality, we will sack you again. That's the truth. As long as Eneke the bird learns to fly without perching, the hunter will learn to shoot without missing. The criminals are everywhere. They've been on from time immemorial. When you sack them here, and some of them will say, look, I'm tired of all of this life. How will I be running forever? I don't want to do this again. I want to give my life to God. Those ones are the good ones. The ones who want to constantly live in shanties, live in dangerous hideout, to rob and to kill, we will keep going after them. You can't stop.
And another thing is, it's not just criminals that live in shanties.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
There are people,
who
have nowhere to go.
They are safe, but you can't. Abuja.
Isn't it possible that you're turning some of those people into criminals?
No. Abuja is a planned city. That's the plain truth. Abuja is a planned city.
I'm not saying that they should stay in shanties, but shouldn't there be a plan to relocate, rehabilitate?
The only ones you can do that for by the law of this city are the original inhabitants. They are the ones you relocate, compensate, rehabilitate, and whatever. The original inhabitants, the Gbagis, the Gwandaras, the Gwaris, the other tribes that makes up Abuja original inhabitants. But the other people who come and stay where they're not supposed to stay, the law don't allow you to. Where will you get the funds from? That's the truth about it. When you come to a city like this, that's what I tell people, the problem they have is that they want to live in the city center.
And they have the right to do that.
No, you have the right to do, but to get the legal document. Before Channels TV decides to establish itself here, Channel was somewhere, got the original paper, got building plan approval, within the ambits of the law that governs a new capital city that was moved from Lagos to Abuja. You build this broadcast edifice because you are law-abiding. Everyone ought to abide to the law the way you did.
They're trying to hustle, Atta.
Everyone is hustling. Everyone is
trying to find a way to live here.
I agree with you. Everyone is hustling. But it's not because you are hustling. You just go somewhere close to the sheep house because you find some trees there, you pretend to be farming, and quietly you build a shanty. The next thing, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shanty. And the next thing, criminals join you and start to rob ladies. And because you are hustling, we had to look the other way and see bachas and shanties everywhere. It's not going to work. Every shanty started as just one small bacha. Maybe the man is selling sachet milk, sachet water, sachet toothpaste. People are buying from him. Quietly, he brings somebody. The hoodlum starts to come in and mix with them. And the next thing, they become uncontrollable. They become very dangerous here. And that's the truth. And you will not encourage shanty to be around your area. And that's the fundamental fact. We must understand that this city is governed by law.
Good luck with the work that you do. And thank you so much for being with us on Dateline.
Thank you very much, Kela. Wonderful time spending time here with you on Channels Television.